I want to go to the other coast. Perry Minasian. You don't know him, nor should you. He's the GM of the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles. I only talk about Artie Moreno because Artie Moreno runs that team. There was some question in Anaheim whether, given how bad they are, and it's just, I think Coca could give you some stats if he had them. I think the Angels, is it still true that Mike Trout hasn't won a playoff game? I think that's true. I think the Angels have the longest consecutive streak in all of baseball without making the playoffs. I think that's true. I think that Mike Trout's on the wrong side of 30 and realizing, hey, rich, married, kids, happy, LA, I'm fine, we're good. And I'm not going to in any way yuck on Mike Trout's yum. But if you think that team success and World Series rings, if you don't care about it, I'm fine with it. It's your right. I can disagree because it's all I care about. But, I mean, all I care about from a work standpoint, obviously. But it actually may have used to been, it's all I care about from a work standpoint. So I am not going to begrudge Mike Trout for wanting to be on the Angels. But man, if you're going to have the Angels GM hold a press conference, I just am not sure I understand how in the world you let him say the things he said. Think about where the Angels have been. I totally think we all know it. He's won 358 games and lost 452. He's about 100 games under 500. He has had a record of years to put together a winning team. He's had money from Artie Moreno to put together a winning team. What would you think when you are prepping for this press conference, this end of season press conference, which they delayed by a week? I don't care whether he was on vacation. Now, if he had a personal issue with a sick child, then delay it all you want. But if he's on vacation or he just doesn't want to meet the media, or Artie Moreno said, I'm not ready for him to meet the media, I'm not sure we're going to bring him back, fine. What is it you think would be the number one question asked? A show of hands from nobody. Hello? Anyone? All right, I got it for you. The question is, you've let go of your manager. You haven't had success at the major league level. What is your accountability? What is your role in the failure of the organization? That'd be the number one question that you'd expect, wouldn't it? What would be your answer? Isn't your answer going to be what you see coaches do, but then you watch Nothing Personal, and the host of it looks at the manager? Carlos Mendoza comes to mind, Coca. This stops with me. It starts with me. I'm accountable. I've got to be better. We've heard coaches do that all the time. And we don't buy it, but that's what you're supposed to do. That's not what Perry Minasian did. Perry Minasian decided to go a totally different direction. And when asked about whether he takes any accountability for the failure, his answer was, and I'm quoting, I'm not worried about that. Hold on one second. Can I stop you there, Perry? Which part are you not worried about? The fact that your team stinks year after year? The fact that you must have pictures of Artie Moreno with a goat? That's why you still have your job? Even though we know Artie Moreno's doing the job, but why wouldn't he just bring someone else in? Why would you agree to keep having the job? Oh, the money's good. That's got to be what it is. I'm not saying that people wouldn't want one of 30 jobs. There's only 30 jobs running a baseball department, but you're going to work for Artie Moreno. You know very well it's like being the AGM under Jerry Jones. I'm good. Take the money. But when you're asked about accountability, you know you're not going to be fired because you would have been fired already. Why not take the accountability? Instead, I'm not worried about that. And then he said, I'm worried about going forward, where we are at this point in time, making the team better, hiring the right manager. I just can't, Coca. I can't with that answer. How do we let him get away with that? So then they say the next question, hey, how do you measure how you've done at your job? You fired Ron Washington. You didn't bring back Ray Montgomery. You can't keep managers. You keep cycling through them. You can't get good players because they don't win games. They don't make the playoffs. Just curious, Anaheim Angels of LA, how are you doing at your job? And he said, that would be a question for somebody else. And I said to myself, hell yeah, because he's right. That is a question for Artie Moreno. But when you're asked that question as a president of a team, when I was asked that question, how do you think you've done? I would say, listen, somebody else is evaluating me, but I'll tell you, I think I've made more good decisions than bad ones, but I've made a bunch of bad ones. But the rule is, if you have more good than bad, you're probably doing fine. When a GM is asked, hey, how you doing? Well, I'd say that I'm judged by results, and my results stink. That seems to make sense to me also. But nope. He just said, ask somebody else. He, of course, went on to say there's been great improvement. And I leave you with this. We are going to remember everything that you say. At the trade deadline, that's the same guy, Perry Minasian, who said, we're obviously really competitive and that's why we're keeping this team together. Was he talking for Moreno? Because since the All-Star break, they have been horrific. They went 19-34 and didn't have competitive games in August, September, nothing. Totally full of it at all times. So for all of you Angels fans out there, what can I tell you? Other than, I really am sorry